I need to confess something, and it's the hardest thing I've ever had to say out loud. I cheated. I cheated on John, the man I love, the man I've built a life with. And it wasn't just a one-off mistake. It was an affair with my fitness trainer. I visibly wince, looking down for a moment before forcing myself to meet the camera again. It sounds cliché, doesn't it? The mid-30s woman, feeling a bit lost, a bit soft around the edges, hires a trainer. It started so innocently. John and I, we were good, comfortable. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our Netflix nights. We'd been together for 10 years, married for 5, and I loved him, I really did. Still do. But somewhere along the line, I'd started to feel invisible. Not to John necessarily, but to myself. I'd lost some of my spark, my confidence. So I decided to do something about it. I found Mark, this highly rated personal trainer at a local gym. My goal was purely physical. Get stronger, feel better in my skin, reclaim some of that energy I felt slipping away. The first few sessions were exactly what you'd expect. He was professional, focused, incredibly knowledgeable. He pushed me hard, but always with a smile. He'd adjust my form, his hands on my back or my hips, guiding me. And I started noticing things. The way his gray eyes crinkled when he laughed at one of my clumsy jokes. The low rumble of his voice when he encouraged me to do just one more rep. The intense focus he gave me, just me, for an entire hour. I shift uncomfortably, a mix of shame and a ghost of a memory playing on my face. I'd never had that kind of focused, intense attention from a man outside of John. And John, he's wonderful, but life had become quieter. We still loved each other, but the intense, passionate gaze from across a crowded room, the feeling of being utterly consumed by someone's attention, that had faded into the comfortable warmth of familiarity. And I missed it. I missed feeling it. Mark started to fill that void. He'd say things like, "You've got incredible strength in you, Sarah. Just gotta unleash it." Or, "You're making amazing progress. You should be really proud." Simple words, right? But they felt like oxygen. They made me feel seen, admired, powerful. And then there were the touches. Always professional, always about adjusting form. But sometimes his hand would linger a fraction of a second too long. Or our eyes would meet across the gym, and it wasn't just a trainer-client look. There was something else there. A spark, a recognition. The thrill started subtly. It was like a tiny current, buzzing beneath my skin every time I knew I had a session with him. I'd spend more time getting ready, picking out my workout clothes, doing my hair. Not for the workout, not really, for him. I'd catch myself smiling for no reason, my heart doing a little flutter when his name popped up on my phone with a reminder about at our next session. Sighs. And then the guilt would wash over me, cold and sharp. What was I doing? I loved John. This was ridiculous. But the thrill was addictive. It was like a secret, powerful energy that only I knew about. It made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years, like I was stepping into a different version of myself, a more exciting, more desired version. The line. It blurred so slowly I barely registered it until I was already halfway across. After our sessions, we started talking longer, about our lives, our dreams, not just fitness. He'd walk me to my car, leaning against the door, talking for another 15 minutes, sometimes more. One evening, after a particularly grueling session, he said, "You're amazing, Sarah, really." And he reached out, not to adjust my form, not to spot me, but to brush a strand of hair from my face. And his thumb, it just grazed my cheek. It was like an electric shock. My heart hammered in my chest. I froze. He didn't move away immediately. Our eyes locked. And in that moment, I knew. He knew. And I was terrified and exhilarated all at once. I stammered a goodnight, practically ran to my car, my hands shaking so much I could barely get the key in the ignition. That night, I cried myself to sleep next to John. I felt like the most disgusting human being on the planet. I told myself it was a one-off, an accidental flirtation, nothing more. I told myself I'd be distant next session, professional. But I wasn't. Because the next session, there was an unspoken tension, a different energy between us. And after our cool down, he suggested we grab a coffee. Just to chat about your diet plan, he said. And I said yes. And that coffee turned into a lunch, which turned into an innocent drink after a workout to review your progress. And one night, after one of those progress review drinks, as he walked me to my car again, he leaned in. And he kissed me. It was intense, urgent, full of all that pent-up tension. And for a fleeting moment, as his lips met mine, the guilt vanished, replaced by pure, unadulterated thrill, the forbidden rush, the feeling of being completely desired, consumed by this new, dangerous passion. It was everything my comfortable, safe life wasn't anymore. It was fire. And that was it. That was the moment I crossed the point of no return. We started seeing each other outside of the gym. Stolen moments, whispered phone calls, carefully constructed lies to John, dinner with girlfriends, late nights, working. Every lie was a knife to my gut, but every touch from Mark, every secret smile, every moment of passion felt like a powerful drug. The thrill was intoxicating. The adrenaline of almost getting caught, the elaborate excuses, the thrill of this secret world I was building. It was exhilarating and terrifying. I felt alive. I felt wanted. I felt new. Mark made me feel like the most beautiful, exciting woman in the world. He told me I was strong, witty, sensual. All the things I felt I'd lost, he seemed to find in me. But the guilt, oh, the guilt. It was a constant companion. It festered in the quiet moments. Lying next to John at night, listening to his steady breathing, I'd feel a wave of nausea. Every time he said, "I love you," it felt like a dagger. I became hyper-aware of his kindness, his patience, his unwavering trust, and it made me hate myself even more. I started withdrawing from John, emotionally. I couldn't look him in the eye for too long. Our conversations became superficial. I'd snap at him over nothing. My sleep was terrible. My appetite vanished. I was living a double life, and it was tearing me apart. The short-term thrill I got from Mark was becoming overshadowed by the long-term agony of the lie, the feeling of being dirty, tainted. The self-loathing was unbearable. Mark, he wasn't a bad person. He was just there. And I was susceptible. He gave me something I was desperately craving, even if I hadn't fully acknowledged it. But what we had, it was built on secrecy and lust, not on real love or genuine connection that could last. I knew that deep down. It was an escape, a fantasy, and it had to end. I wipe a tear from my cheek. I couldn't live with it anymore. The guilt became too heavy. The thrill, it had evaporated, leaving only a bitter emptiness. The last time I saw Mark, I ended it. It was messy, tearful on my part, but I did it. And then I came home. I haven't told John yet. Not completely. That's why I'm here. Doing this video it's my first step, my first real confession, even if it's just to a camera. Because I know I can't go to him with this lie anymore. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to me. And I owe him the truth. I owe him the truth about my weakness, my selfishness. My monumental mistake. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if our marriage can survive this. I don't know if I can survive this. The pain of what I've done, it's unbearable. It's a constant ache in my chest, and I have to face the consequences, whatever they are. This isn't a story with a happy ending. Not yet. This is just the ugly, raw, painful truth. If there's anyone out there watching this, feeling that same pull, that same dangerous thrill, please don't do it. The temporary high is never, ever worth the devastation it leaves behind. The guilt, the shame, the potential loss of everything you hold dear. It's a burden I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I take a shaky breath, looking directly into the lens, my eyes full of tears but also a newfound resolve. I cheated, and now I have to live with it and figure out how to be a better person, somehow. I reach out and press the stop button,